everyone, it's Cinnamon Cooney, your art Sherpa, and I'm going to show you today the things I think about fan brushes and grass combs. Let you know if there's one I think is better, why you should buy one, why you shouldn't buy one, how they're strong, how they're weak, so that you can, as a consumer, make a decision about what you might want to have in your own brush bucket. So we're going to do a very specific kind of comparison of the two tools. They do a lot more than I'm going to demonstrate today. I will talk about those things if you're curious about that, but you should be able to leave this video going, yes, I want one, I want the other, or I don't care about any of it. It should leave you in that space. Doesn't that sound exciting, John?
That sounds exciting.
So the first thing is like, what are the brushes? This right here is a fan brush. And this one right here is a grass comb, and this is the Grainer. And you'll notice in the description, I put these in the same category, and that's because they have a very similar trimming edge. Basically, it's a filbert that has been pieced out.
Peace out.
And the fan brush I've got is hog. You can get fan brushes in hog and synthetic. And hair. I believe on the Filbert Grainers, just from what I've looked, I've really only seen them in synthetic, but I have to believe they probably come in hair. I doubt they come in hog. How are we doing?
Synthetic and hog and hair. Oh my.
Oh my. So I've got a very messy background that just dinged me happening here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to paint a very typical subject, two trees.
Wait.
This is a tale of two trees. And I might add some things like grass and everything to give you an idea. You should know you can use both brushes in cloud work and water work as well, stone work and fur work. But we're going to focus on trees today because I think it'll give you enough of an idea as a consumer to be like, yeah, or like, no, not good at all.
But they're the typical trees.
And if you're interested in fan brushes, because a lot of people have trouble with fans, I have literally an entire playlist of 5-minute videos to help you be better at fan brush work.
Yeah, I need to ask you something. Are trees typically happy?
I feel like trees definitely have a mood. I have to say, having traveled a bit, and I'm sure many of you have seen sad trees, there are trees that are sad.
You know,
they're angry trees.
There's the weeping willows.
Defensive trees, and yeah, there's happy trees. But I think for the most part, we can put nature in that happy category.
All right.
So I have put out CAD Red Medium. If you want to test along with your own tools, if you have both of these brushes, you could test it along. Just give yourself a background that's blue for a sky. CAD Red Medium, CAD Yellow Medium, Phthalo Blue, Phthalo Green, Burnt Sienna, Mars Black, and Titanium White. Because it's like a basic thing. Now, to do the Grainer, I can tell you right away that it's going to take more than one brush because you wouldn't paint a whole tree with the Grainer. So that's right off. I'm going to get this right now. That's making me, there's paint on the edge there. Right now, that's a difference between them. You can paint a whole tree with a fan, and let's do that. Let's start out and talk about this. So the fan brush comes in all these filaments. It comes in a lot of sizes, pretty easy to locate, and almost everybody's brush line has one. I'm going to start out with a very dark mix. I'm going to actually mix green and brown and black together on the brush, on the edge. You're pretty familiar with this.
Hold on. Wait.
And
can't see it from the overhead. That's why we got this other camera, and I need to know where you're doing it.
I'm going to be over here. I'm going to do the fan on this side.
Hold on. Let me make
now,
sure
with the fan brush, unless you want to use a different brush, and many people do, for the top of the tree, generally you use the corner of the brush. And very carefully kind of think about the top of the tree. I did do, again, a series of videos that will let you know how to paint all the little trees. But mostly what we all think of with these guys is that they do this sort of pine tree, right? This little tree that stands alone. And it goes pretty quick, doesn't it?
It does.
You can make the branches go up or down based on the position of the handle, as we've talked about in the past. And it paints it pretty quickly. This is fairly fast work. And with just a few adjustments in your technique, you can have decent trees.
Yeah.
With very little difficulty. And they'll feel like trees. Now, a fan brush tree, in my opinion, has a real distinctive look. And I'm going to get a little more black in here as I go down.
You can spot one from a mile away.
You can spot the fan brush trees pretty quickly. I'm going to go ahead and also maybe start the grass, and I'll go up. And you can see I'm doing a pretty easy grass.
Mm-hmm.
I have a interesting video called These Trees that is just really about this fan brush doing all the techniques. It's sort of fun.
All the
And
grasses.
again, that 5-minute video series will just get you working on your fan right away. And you can see it very easily does these irregular and uneven lines for something like grass or any of that. Right?
Now, if you were going to visit this out, you'd do the 3-layery thing you do.
Oh, we are doing it 3-layer.
Oh, nicely.
No, I'm going to show you guys what these do and how they do it, because otherwise you won't know.
How they do.
Right? Because this isn't a time lapse. I've done some comparisons on TikTok that are time lapses that you can kind of see real quick. But honestly, I think this deep dive is going to help you. Hi, Barbara and Christine and Hope. Hope has the sippy sippy and is going to learn about a grass brush and a fan brush. I'm also in this video going to show you how to make your own grainer, which will absolutely void the warranty on your brush. Actually, I think that's pretty good. I'm going to just do green and brown right now, right? Green and brown, the burnt sienna and the phthalo green. Phthalo green can be a very bright color, so I like to get the brown in there to kind of knock it back a bit, desaturate it, and I'll come in with the next layer of color, and I'll come up to the top and say, I'll give it a little highlight, try to think about how these little things highlight, and I'll do a similar technique. There's a few ways you can make these more detailed as you go, but this is really the basic one. The trick here is you don't want to take out too many of the under branches. So positives, variety of selection, does the work fairly quickly. Lots of options in filament. Most brush companies have it, and you can get a lot of positivities on a price point. Not all fan brushes work, though. Brush companies will make a fan brush out of any filament, and not all filaments, soft filaments, don't really work well. So on a fan brush, if the length out from the ferrule is long and it's a soft filament, it's just going to make 4 fingers of death. And at that point, you might as well buy one of these fan brushes. Wait, there it is. So John had walked away on me. So, and I didn't orient it. So from the filament, from the ferrule to the length out, if it's too far out, it's going to break apart, make like these little 4 divided fingers. And my joke was that you could get this fan. All right, I'm going to come over to my yellow. I'm gonna add a little white here just to kind of lighten this up. And let's give it a 3 value, right? We're gonna go to the trouble and we'll add some. Shall we put sunlight over here on the left? We could have put it on the right, but let's put it on the left, because why not? Even if you're doing sunlight on a leftmost side, you can always say, oh, a little bit of light caught other parts of it, right? Goes pretty quick. Fairly dimensional tree we have here, right? And I can, let me get a little more water on my brush. I can come in and highlight up very lightly some grass. So without difficulty, I've been able to really sort of paint a little landscape over here. Look at that, grass just gets picked up. And again, it does this fur, it does this, all those things. There you are. Doesn't take a lot of time. It can be difficult to find a good fan brush. And DeCosta says, I'm learning how to paint trees. Hi, Ann! And Hope is also wishing you guys are warm today. Ah, geez, everyone's liking the lesson topic today. I wasn't sure how you guys were going to feel about this, but it's just a topic I wanted to cover for a minute, and so I put it in there. So here we are. This is what this is. Now, the grainers. All right. Sometimes they're called a grass comb, and sometimes they're called a Filbert Grainer. Princeton tends to call them Filbert Grainers, and they have them in a couple of their lines. I do like the Velvet Touch, but they also have them in the Select line, which is easier to find in places like Joann's. Most brushes have this. Now, I'm going to show you something just real quick. I'm going to put a paper towel over this so you can see this. But what if you don't have one of these?
What if?
What if? So I'm going to sacrifice a Filbert.
Oh, no.
So this is a Filbert. Now, the minute I do this, I have voided the warranty on the brush. If the ferrule falls off or the brush was made badly, I cannot go to the manufacturer and talk to them about this experience in any way. You can take small scissors or big scissors, and you just start to piece out little bits of the brush.
You want to show them what you're using to do that with? Look,
I
it's a little
normally
pair of
use
sharp
sewing
scissors.
scissors.
There's a little pair of sharp scissors.
Yeah, little pair of sharp scissors. Now, these are kind of some weird scissors.
I'm zoomed
And I
in.
did check, and I can use a bigger pair. What's more important is that you clip into the brush.
Clip in. Don't clip across.
And you can see that I'm getting some. And it takes a little bit of work. But, I mean, if you don't have a grainer in your area, but you can get a Filbert, here you go. Voided the warranty. Look at me being brave. And if this is the moment when you realize you can custom cut your brushes, yeah, you can. The only time you don't want to cut a brush is if it's a natural hair brush, because the flagging or the splitting of the end on the hair is part of what makes the brush perform. But on synthetic, have a blast. Enjoy cutting your synthetic brushes all you like. And I mean, if you feel like hog wild, you can cut your hogs, but you will mess with the flagging of the brush.
Yeah, there's.
But there we go. See, we've got some of that there, don't we?
The way that you're cutting it, though, does reduce the amount of flag damage, so to speak, by.
Sure, but now you can see that instead of a smooth edge, what do I have here? I have a really uneven edge, which is pretty reminiscent of this brush. Much less expensive.
Hold there. I can see.
See that? Not that hard to do. Lady Jelena says, so basically you point to cut it like you would your bangs? Yeah, those bang skills that you picked up in the 80s and 90s, super work here. Just feather that in, man. Piece that out. Remember when they used to piece that out? And they used to even have scissors that would kind of do that you could do that. I suppose you could use those here, but I find that I like to just work it.
Bang clippers.
And see the result that I'm getting. And so this probably will become a bigger, I didn't have a bigger grainer. And so this will probably become a bigger grainer because I can get another Filbert. Easy. Can't get a grainer in every size. So there we go. I'm going to take the little hair away. And I needed a bigger one for this lesson because the ones I have are too small to do the next part. So now that I have this, I can paint the tree again. All right. But I can do an interesting thing because I got the grainers. I don't have to paint like really one kind of tree. I can kind of come up here and say, I'm going to paint an interesting bent tree. What do you guys think of that? That's a thing that you can do different. I've taken burnt sienna and I'm just going to come in. And I can still paint the edge like this is a Filbert, but you can see already, look, you can see already it's piecing out.
Thinning shears. I wonder what thinning shears are. Katie's asking if I could use my thinning shears.
I would think you can.
You know what those are?
Yeah. There's a bang thing we were talking about earlier. It's a special pair of scissors for that. I don't have any.
Whenever
but I
say,
would definitely give it a try. I can tell you that right now.
Whenever someone says shears, I think of sheep. I was like, I don't know. Maybe it's something else.
I'm just trying to make an interesting little tree here because, like, why not? All right, I'm going to come into my grass, same dark color that I had before. Now look at that. I just made this brush, and already it's useful and is going in the permanent brush bucket. So, I have voided the warranty on a lot of brushes over the years and not been sorry one single time. Very rarely do these guys make a brush that's so good that I wouldn't get a pair of scissors in it. Yeah, sometimes they do.
So,
and then those times I don't touch them for nothing.
Lily asks a
Hi,
good
Lily.
question. Maybe this would be a great idea to even better dry brush effect on things like mountains.
Yeah. And when you realize you can cut and shape your own brushes and you start to get to most of the brushes that you see in these different specialty lines, I want you to understand the brush companies did not invent them. The artists invented them. Some clever artists cut a brush, did really well, all their students wanted one, and all the brush makers went and made one.
Okay, I'm going to warn you guys. Once you cut a brush, it's a domino effect. The next thing you're going to be like, wait, I can wrap my own canvases and I don't have to use canvas and there are other surface preps? Wait, what? I'm telling you, it gets dangerous. So before you cut your first brush, know that you're opening yourself to this journey of like modifying and creating the art tools you need rather than conforming your art to the tools that are available.
I mean, rebels that we are. And you can see this makes a very nice kind of irregular little line, right?
Well, if you say so. I'm just watching this little tree take formation.
I don't know. I've been watching Hotel Del Luna.
What's that?
It's a Korean comedy.
That's the one that I
You
hear
keep
the
saying, is this
music
one on
and I'm
again?
like, whoa, sleepy time.
So we're gonna do kind of a more sculpted or considered shape of a tree,
Yeah,
right?
I'm gonna say you're brave to call that a tree right now. Looks like some lower like somebody came along and took all the lower branches off.
Well, they probably did. They trimmed them.
Trimmed them all the
I'm
sheep.
just trying to do it in my mind right now.
All right, so there's more questions. I'll go read
I'd
them
love
instead
to
of typing.
answer any questions.
Oh, uh, Chloe.
Hi, Chloe.
I think it's Chloe. Um, Sherpa, do you do lessons on values? I can never get mine right, even with the value finder. There's a value finder?
Mhm.
Okay, nope. News today.
Let's do one. I haven't done one in a minute. I did some on something called Technique Tuesday, which I did only on Facebook for a while, but I might reboot that series to be here for you guys because sometimes it's nice to work on those core techniques like lighting, value.
Ooh,
I don't know. I'm just trying to think of a very interesting tree, guys. This is what we're doing.
that's right, Scott. Once you cut your brush, you can't go back. Be careful.
You cannot go back. It's cut.
It's a gateway cut.
Yeah, I'm just getting all designery with it. Okay. So that's pretty good, right? We've got that. We've got that. That's pretty awesome. I am
Definitely.
gonna style down or size down on my brush now that I've got this crazy shape. And I'm gonna come in here and I'm gonna make some orange, like you do. Grab a little of my brown. I'm using the Grainer now that I bought, the Velvet Touch one, which by the way, this brush feels really awesome. And we'll thin the paint a bit, and I'm gonna kind of create some bark. So you can make bark with the fan brush. There's several styles of bark that you can make. I can't say that the Grainer won't give you is the only one that will give you bark or fur. It's just a different level of control.
I tell you, if you want bark, get a corgi. Just bark, 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 bark.
Gonna add some highlights to this little trunk. And kind of push that back there. You can always get back into your brown.
Oh,
Hmm.
do you ever pinch the bristles as you paint, and what for? Lily asks.
I do pinch the bristles if I need to reshape the brush and it just isn't in the shape I need and I need to get it into a specific spot. And you should too. You should use your tools
The way you want to.
creatively, the way you need to. They're here to serve you. You don't serve your tools. I can always get back into some black. I want to add some depth. But you can see very quickly I can make quite a textured. Look at the detail on this bark.
It is.
Not as quick of a brush, maybe in the technique. It doesn't like get the technique going as quick. So if fast is the deal, that may not be the thing. But boy, if like getting great hair, great fur is the deal, it is the thing.
It's a useful mod. To be, what is it? trendy. We have to. Is this a hack? Is this a
I guess this
brush
is a hack.
hack?
This is a brush hack. Literally, I hacked the brush.
I feel like I'm a hack.
You got imposter syndrome going on today?
What do you mean? I don't know how much of an imposter I am. I'm a guy who they let have YouTube. I bought some cameras and put my wife on here and kind of got good at it. There's not really too much more to it than
You
that.
just said I'm a hack, so I was like,
Well, I mean, it's not like I'm producing um, Jurassic Park.
oh man, why you start with them? Bill
Because Jurassic
Tipton will
Park's
release
cool.
the dinosaurs on you.
No, the first one was awesome. I loved the first
Oh,
one.
you were saying like I'm not awesome enough to make Jurassic Park. I was like, okay, that's fine.
Well, I don't know how. I would be like, that's a whole different skill set than this. I know how to capture these little brush strokes,
Look how
which
nice
I'm
this
pretty
tree
good
is
at.
starting to look. Doesn't it look like an incredible little tree? Incredible little tree.
I hacked my cameras to work. I'm not like overly philosophical on it. I wasn't trying to like open a can of philosophy worms.
Well, you did now, didn't you? And that looks lovely. Nice little tree just sitting there doing its little tree stuff. I made it up. Probably looks like it, but
It's
this
a
is
good
what I
tree.
did today.
It's a good tree.
I did this today. Now I'm
There's
going to take my green and brown again.
Hey Cinnamon,
Yeah?
there's a growing interest in this subject. I'm not even being punny. We have a steady group
I'm going to
of
add another layer of brighter green, and I'll use the smaller brush maybe.
is that
Actually, I might go back to the one that I handmade.
okay.
I might
I was
go
just
back
trying
to
to
the
figure
one
out
that I
which one you're on.
handmade, and because it'll do it a little quicker,
Ooh.
because it's bigger. And then I can detail with the small one.
The small one came that way.
Small one I bought, this one I made.
Mm-hmm.
Is fabrication of me. But you can see the difference between the fan work. It's just about marks. This is all we're ever dealing with is what marks do we make. I guess what I'm trying to say is don't be intimidated by your tools, even when they're expensive. They're just something an artist figured out that a brush company made, right? Sometimes brush companies are owned by artists, right? But that's still an artist figuring it out. I'm going to add a little bit of this bright green into this grass here, a couple places, just because it's fun to kind of create some depth and dimension. Look at that. Comparisons.
It is interesting.
Now I can kind of come in and say, all right, let's making little pine needles here. I'm going to really get into the details with the small one, but this way I can kind of create some depth into the tree, some shape into the tree. It's not even that hard with the big one.
Tree shape?
Mm-hmm.
Just sort of brushing up on your trees.
Brushing up on my trees. This is like a Tory pine right here.
And this is your custom brush that started life
I just made this brush minutes ago with scissors.
It was
Thank you, Barbara wants to sit under my tree.
What did it start life as?
Oh, and
Black
Chloe,
Pearl?
thank you. I love that you like the trees. What?
What did that start life as?
Filbert. There's a Filbert.
Gotcha.
And then I cutted it up.
Chomp, 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 chomp.
And you can watch me do it. And those of you that ever pieced your bangs, you've done it. You know this cut.
Is it really good to use a double load of paint for bark and grass?
Oh, you can. There's nothing wrong with it.
That's
Everything in art is good when used when you want it to be applied. And everything has its positives. And that's why we're not really going to walk away with you should only have a fan or you should only have a grainer. You should understand why a fan is wonderful and you should understand why a grainer is wonderful and then decide when they fit your life.
I feel like I have a bowling analogy.
Okay.
Did you know I took 4 years? No, it's not. I did 3 years of bowling, maybe. I
Did
took a lot of bowling.
you do it in college or high school?
High school, and then I think I did a year of it in college.
Not Prairie View.
No, it was at. Anyway.
Everyone from Prairie View just went, "What? You know we didn't bowl. We just read the book."
It's just, which is funny.
It's so funny.
Anyway, like when you're throwing a bowling ball, right? There's like several schools of thought on trying to throw the bowling ball, and none of them are right or wrong, but they all get a different effect at the end. But ultimately, you're knocking the pins down. So
that's pretty cool, right? If I have a couple sizes of these, and this is true with fan brushes too, I'm just like letting you guys have the whole thing. Now I'm going to come in and I'm going to get some really light green, right? Now we're going to make some drama. And this is the phthalo green and the burnt sienna and the cad yellow, and we'll get a little white in there, so it's real drama in it, so we can really see what's happening. Look at that. I can make some very wonderful, delicate little grass, can't I? Lots of depth, lots of delicate grass.
Mm-hmm.
Come back and add some green. Put under the tree maybe a bit.
Dee Dee likes to save her old brushes to become cloud brushes.
Yeah. Yeah, do that. Save them old messed up brushes. They need to be cloud brushes.
They're personality brushes. They've earned their right in the cup. Got the miles to prove it. All right, I'll stop. Today I feel like I got a bit of that Donkey and Shrek vibe going on, where I'm just talking and you're like,
well, I made up a tree, which was like, I don't know, an erroneous little task there. Like, what am I doing?
I like your tree.
I like my tree too.
It's a good tree.
I just don't have to think about this tree a bit.
Everybody likes a tree.
So I trimmed it. I trimmed a weird tree. Also, when I do the little thing where you buy the little short trees and then you trim them up, and you get them at the side of the road, and they're like, it's a bonsai tree, but it's not really a bonsai tree, but you trim it up. This is also what happens to me. So just so you know, true to my strange imagination.
You know what?
Look at those just...
Is your coffee warm?
My coffee could be warmer.
I think that's probably what it is.
Is that what it is? What? You know what, guys? Also, I had the worst case of dry eye that I've had in years.
You had Sahara Desert eye.
Oh my gosh. And then what happened is that I got chapped skin. So at one point my eye looked like, I don't know, like it looked rough. And then I get that fixed with like some oil and stuff. And then both of my cheeks look like somebody had slapped me. Nobody had slapped me. Nobody had slapped me at all. I just had some cheek problems. All right. Just seeing there. So you can see we can add these little details, right? Look at these little details get added. It makes marks. These are just marks. You find the marks you love. Heather, I'm so sorry you're still having issues with your eye. The good news is, though, about my eye, guys, is that I got the drops that I got the medicine that's going to fix it. And it just took it a few days to get kicked in. And it's super working. So I'm very excited. I expect that with just a few things, like, making sure I drop at night and stuff, and taking this medicine, I will not have dry eye issues. And I'm very excited. I've got to get into, I don't have access to the document, John, so you got to look at the question document. Tanya, nice demonstration. I'm considering starting a painting workshop in April. Any advice for starting brushes? Well, I'll tell you the brand is Simply Simmons, because And if you're doing acrylic, the firm filament on that, because that's for you, a teacher, the a reasonable cost. You don't have to just drive the cost of everything up, and they're a quality brush. They tend to crack and peel, but outside of that, they're a quality brush.
Hmm.
And whatever you teach, paint it first, right? Paint it first. Try to do stuff that doesn't need like every brush in the bucket. I know that seems like, of course, but sometimes it's hard to forget that. Like I'll be doing a workshop or planning a retreat, and it's like I want to do everything. I'm like, let's pour paint. Let's
I think that's a country western song. Every brush in the bucket.
every brush in the bucket. You know, like water disposal is the hardest part of doing a retreat or workshop. Cleaning up. So there we go. Look at us. We're getting some sunlight on that tree, aren't we?
See, if these two trees were growing next to each other, you'd be like, so one tree we gave Jolt Cola.
I'm adding some little details on here. Just a little extra touch of light, right? A little bit of extra light. They make trees and stones and bark and hair and fur and clouds.
Mm,
They do all the things.
all of those things.
All the things.
And you can make one at home.
And you can make them at home. And I think that's really important to understand as a new artist, because sometimes your area doesn't carry something in stock. It just doesn't have it. It's, we get rural. I'm certainly rural. Maybe you don't have Amazon, and it's just not available to you. You can make what is available to you work. Sometimes I just like to go back and add some depth and dimension, right?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe a little shadow under the tree.
Scott says, it's a police song. Every brush you take.
What a crazy secondary. People later are going to be watching this and going, what? I'm just trying to say this one kind of does this tree. You can do weirder trees. I'm having a week, y'all. Is what it is. Sometimes you just have a week and you just gotta, the tree you get.
All right, now Brenda would like to know, will you show how to paint fur today? Or is that another lesson?
That could be another lesson, because I think fur really, the best fur uses a variety of brushes and a series of concepts.
And
I have lessons on these brushes individually for fur, but I think the like knockdown, like really bring all your A game and have your best beginner success. I'm gonna get so many comments on this tree.
inevitably, if you mix bark and fur, they'll think that you're talking about dogs and mistag everything. So we got to set those up in different videos.
It's probably true these days. Adding a little bit of light to the bark. Giving that tree a little bit of personality. Man, it just had a little moment up there, didn't it?
Mm-hmm.
I just wanted to I just got artful with my tree again.
However, did that happen?
Don't know. It happens to me more than it should.
They're digging the TARDIS sweater.
Are they? This is a space tree.
Oh, Scott put the rest of the lyrics up. They're great.
Trying to I'm trying to like make the tree have a I'm trying to make the tree have a moment.
That tree had a moment, that's for sure.
As my eldest would say, slay, tree, slay. You're living your best life. Live your best life, little tree. This tree represents my week. This is how my week is felt. Little tree, you are me. I don't. You get the point, right?
Oh, we do. That you've got an inner tree that's yearning to get out. Now, I want to see everybody else's inner tree. So please, please, please post your tree up on our Facebook page and add if you have some brush lyrics of your own, feel free to add them. I would be entertained to see what you put under the tree.
Sometimes I'll get in there and I'll be like, you need another branch, don't you? And then I just need another little balancing branch.
This could be the wild Susian tree.
It's not Susian. It's Torrey Pine. They're weird. I tell you. I had one that was crazy in my front yard. Just a weird tree.
It's like someone sneezed
unsubscribe.
a tree.
I'm normally brilliant.
No, it's a cool tree. I would expect to find it in a D&D universe.
Honestly, now I want to put a weird bird in it. But
Oh, what weird bird would you put in it? It's got to be. Is it to be an orange bird? Okay, you got to put the bird in now.
I'm not going to put a bird in it.
What bird is it?
It's not going to be a bird. I don't know. I'd have to stop and think about it. We don't have that kind of time today. I really have to look at I'd have to stare this surface down. But you can see what I mean. It just makes these different kinds of things. So the fan brush gets you out of your painting a lot quicker. And you don't have to do the weird tree. You could do another pine tree. I could have done another pine tree. I just you like to know the different kinds of trees. They're both pine trees technically, right? Will I demonstrate the store-bought grass grainer again? Well, Christine, I use it a lot, and this one is the store-bought one, and this is the one that I made. So all the little tiny detailed controlled leaves I did with the store-bought one, and then the big sort of areas that I painted in, I did with the one that I made.
See, all the World of Warcraft players are
So
gonna.
I'm just I love it that other artists get tickled at what they see. I tried a deer, and no matter how hard I tried, he still looked like Rudolph. You know, man, sometimes it just gets away from you. Sometimes you're weak. Just eats your project.
Yep.
So that's the subset lesson of this. So hopefully your first lesson is kind of a sense of how these different brushes are and how they do, different things that you can use them for. Let me put the fan brush that I used out there. Where's my little fan? I had him out a minute ago. I didn't put, oh my goodness, what was I thinking? There we go. Look at that. That's what we did. We painted with these brushes. So the fan is this one here. And you will not be guaranteed to paint a weird tree with the grainer. I just don't want to mislead you. You could just paint a regular tree. But it gives you kind of an idea that this does a really nice hair. It does a fine texture. When you're trying to do the ripple and waves, it does a beautiful ripple and a wave. K-pop grandma says, I love your tree. It looks very Asian, honestly. Spent 2 weeks touring South Korea, and that's a tree. Maybe Hotel de Luna is in your brain. It's so in my brain. I've been on just Korean fantasy drama kick, and I can't get. I think I've gotten to I honestly I'm just killing time between episodes of Bugasal. So I'm probably saying that wrong, but it's a K-pop vampire show that I'm watching every week, and then I'm really sucked into. I have a lot. My daughter was like, "What should I watch in Korean drama?" And I made a whole playlist for her. And then we started Kingdom. I'm like, "This one has zombies." I'm like, what is with me? But you know what? Good artistry is good artistry. I think, isn't it?
Yeah.
I am up for entertainment. I have one I watched from I think it's Norway called The Beforeigners. I don't watch the dub at all. I watch original language subtitled.
Oh yeah.
Because I want to hear the actors.
You want to?
Why? I know because it helps. Because I feel the original actors understand the characters.
You were a definite subs, not dubs kid.
I was a definite. Yeah, I definitely subs, not dubs. To brush or not to brush, that is the question. Manon says, bought all sizes of Grainer brush. Now I need to practice. Yes, practice hair, practice fur, and these brushes will come back, including the one I made, into hair videos, into fur videos. Let's bring a tip video a week back.
All right.
Let's bring that back for a while. Should we do that for a minute? Should we do a tune-up, tip tune-up?
All right, we can do.
You guys, thumb up if you think a tip tune-up would be a good idea. The core of you come and we'll learn a thing, some core skills like values and brushes and hair and fur and things like just some basic stuff that we need to know. Like learn how to paint a specific weird thing.
Like a weird tree.
Like this very strange tree, which I agree does have a very I feel like that could be a tree in Korea and they would really love it. Stroked by Billy Squire. I need gnomes at the bottom. Listen, you guys are beautiful for coming today. I have a watercolor class on the watercolor channel tomorrow. Maybe the moderators can drop a link in here if you guys want to come be live where I'm painting some lollipops. And they're sort of realistic in watercolor, so that's going to be tomorrow. I do not have my kit together for the weekend, so I don't know what will happen on Saturday. But I know I'm getting all crazy vaccinated on Sunday, so you will not see me at all. Because I'm getting all the things. Mm-hmm. I'm getting a booster, I'm getting my shingles, and I'm getting my flu. Keep me in your thoughts. I've just decided I'm done.
Get it done.
I won't use that arm for a week. It'll be fine. Oh, everybody loves the idea of it. Tips are on then. All right, you guys, take care of yourselves. Have fun. Have fun in your studios. You know, be brave enough to void a warranty on a brush or two and make some custom tools that work for what you like to do in your painting. It's okay to do, even the brushes, if you bought one of my brushes, it's okay to take one of my brushes and customize that up. Oh, Ray, thank you so much. I appreciate that. Okay, see you guys tomorrow at 1 o'clock on the watercolor channel, and we're going to paint some lollipops. You could probably do an acrylic too if you wanted to. Be good to yourselves, be good to each other. And I want to see you at an easel really soon. Bye-bye.